Russia isn't Sun Tzuang. Sun Tzuang is the position in the game of chess where every move puts you in a worse situation, in a worse position. Sun Tzuang is not a very good place to be. I've said many times, I've done a couple streams before, Russia is in Sun Tzuang. It has been for some time already. There are two main sets of problems. First set of problems is international or external. Successful offensive of Ukraine, Ukraine taking back the recently annexed lands, international sanctions, the isolations, Russian politicians, Russian people becoming pariah, the external problems. In the second set of problems is the domestic or internal set of problems. Of course, it's the economy. Economy sliding down, collapsing, and that makes people much angrier. The social unrest growing. The war or struggle, I think it's already a war, of different power groups within Russian government with one another. And, Vladimir Putin losing its position, the set of internal problems. Not one single good news for Vladimir Putin as the president of Russia, because he's in charge of everything. He's the great beneficiary of this whole thing. Not one single good news. Sun Tzuang. On top of that, he's not getting any younger. He's old. Most likely he's got a bunch of illnesses of an old person. His energy levels are not as high as they were 20, 30 years ago. And basically he does not get any younger. In order to have good end game for Vladimir Putin, for Russia, he needs to play good exit game. Howdy, everyone. My name is Konstantin. Welcome to Inside Russia. Streaming live, giving you the updates from Russia, the news, the opinions, my takes. Welcome. Thank you for joining me. Today is going to be an interesting stream. And the stream is about what is going to happen in the future. I'm going to give you a few scenarios. I call it the exit game. Something's going to happen. Some moves, some actions Russian government or Russian leadership, forgive me please, must take in order to salvage whatever is left. Save its face, whatever can be saved. Okay? And I call it the exit game. My stream today is going to be made of two parts. The first part is who, and the second part, what and how. Well, let me just give you a brief introduction. I'm talking about the exit game and end game for Russia, but at the same time, I'm talking about exit and end game for Vladimir Putin. Why? Well, it's very obvious. Vladimir Putin, Russia's president, is the one who controls everything in Russia in terms of political decisions. He's been in power for quite some time, over 20 years, and he has not single person who opposes him, like a serious opposition leader. Over the years, he's built a system that is called the vertical of power, or the power vertical, vertikal vlasti, that puts him on the very top and empowers him to make decisions for basically the entire government and for all Russian people, well, most Russian people at least. He thinks he knows what's better for Russia and what's better for us. And this is sad, but this is true. Such system in Russia exists. I've already talked about it before. Well, let's think about what is happening now. Vladimir Putin controls everything, right? The situation is Zugzwang. What is his current priorities? Is it money? Is it leaving legacy? Is it power? Let's think about it. Is it about the money? Highly unlikely, because the person who controls, who has absolute power in the country, he doesn't really need money. Everything belongs to him in some way, one way or another. He controls everything, you know. I don't think that money is something that he worries about right now, honestly. Is it the legacy? I think in the past, he wanted to leave the legacy. There were some rumors about him personally, you know, talking about leaving legacy. There were some actions by Russian top officials. They would erect a monument here and there that would resemble Vladimir Putin, you know. And his way of thinking was the planetary scale, not just Russia, because he had achieved everything he could have dreamt of in Russia. He built the power vertical and he placed himself on top of it, on the very top of it, okay? There was basically nowhere else to go higher, to jump. But the planetary scale is different, okay? So I think that he wanted in the past, he wanted to leave a legacy, and he has left a legacy, all right. He's going to be remembered, at least for generations. How he's going to be remembered, what I think you all understand. And there's no need for me to go further in there. And now he doesn't really care about leaving the legacy because he has a bigger problem. You see, he's had power, absolute power, for such a long time. I think he just fears, he's afraid of losing it. And his priority number one is to keep power, to hang on to power. As long as he hangs on to power, I think that he thinks that he can fix everything in the future. I don't have any inside information from the Russian government, from Putin's surroundings and people he trusts. No, just my logical thoughts, and I'm trying to put puzzle together. I think it's fairly safe to say that his top and only priority right now to hang on to power for as long as he can. And he needs that because the ground under his feet is shaking. Situation is not good. He's in Zugzwang, I remind you. Ukraine army is making advances. The West, the collective West, is against Russia. Russia has lost huge competitive advantage in the international markets. Its ability to sell and generate money from the sales of oil and gas. People getting angrier by the day, mobilization. Well, no one likes it internally, so the problems are mounting. So the ground is shaking more and more every single day. How can we judge, let's ask these two questions. How far I think that Vladimir Putin will go, and what will he do to fix things? How far? As far as it gets. What will he do? Just about anything. Now let's talk about the scenarios. What is the possible scenarios of the exit game? I mean, it's clear that something needs to be done because Russia is going down economically, and in international politics, this movement is very clear, and whoever has the right mind, and I think people in the Russian government, they know what's going on. They see that this will be worsening. So something needs to be done, and something needs to be done now. So what are possible scenarios? Well, scenario number one is nuclear strike to end this once and for all. You believe it or not, but I feared that Vladimir Putin thought of something like this, or people around him thought of something like this, because they were talks in the Russian media among Russian propagandists, and I didn't like those talks. But lately, I think this pressure is off, and they're given a different command, and I think that Vladimir Putin is not going to exercise this last option. He's not going to press the big red button, because not only he will end everything for lots of people, he will end everything for himself instantly. And I don't think he likes that. Second, hand of God. Hand of God. Well, there are natural causes. Old people die. We're all mortal, okay? My father passed away just before turning 69 last year. People die every day. Old age, hard, lots of stress, and Vladimir Putin is under so much stress. That's hands down true. So perhaps this God going to interfere somehow and change things around. We don't know. It's very possible. Well, it's definitely, we're all mortal. Two things happen for sure: death and taxes, right? So death for all of us, for each one of us, will happen one day. What happens if Vladimir Putin just goes to different world and he sleep, for example? Well, there will be someone, most likely, that's going to be the group, the power group within the Russian government, who will seize the power and who will place their own Putin in charge of Russia. And most likely that the next Putin will be a weak figure, or perhaps not so weak, but at first very politically inexperienced, relying on the group that would put him in power. Basically, that's what just Vladimir Putin was acting like that back in 2000, 2001, and 2002. And then, of course, the possibilities are absolutely different. But what's going to happen, the minute there's a new Putin, the old Putin will be blamed for every single thing possible. For making decision, for attacking Ukraine, for lying many times, for example, about saying there will be no mobilization and then announcing that signing decree to mobilize Russians, for for economic problems, for every single little tiniest thing. He will be blamed by his, friends, I should say, the ones who are in power. They're gonna turn on him and they will try to put all their sins, push them onto a person who's not in charge anymore. It's going to be an attempt of great cleansing for Russian elites, political elites. They will try to wash hands off their hands. Whether they will succeed or not, I don't know. But the attempts will be made, and they're gonna be of epic proportions. You watch. So that's scenario number 2, the hand of God. Scenario number 3, accepting the loss. Suppose it's, possible, but I'm not sure how probable that is, but it's possible. Russia accepts the loss. The leadership, whether it's Vladimir Putin or the Security Council or whoever, the leadership makes a decision to stop special military operation, to announce its end, to withdraw all the troops from Ukraine back to Russia, and perhaps to either try to keep the annexed territories or to leave them altogether. Okay? And saying, hey, we couldn't do it. There's a loss. This is possible, but I think it's very unlikely, improbable, because what happens next is probably the best decision for Russia, would do something like that, because that would automatically stop the blood loss, the killings of people, Russians and Ukrainians, okay? That's what I actually pray for every single day, and I ask and invite you to pray along for the bloodshed to stop. That's the best possible scenario. I think it's not that probable, because if it's up to humans, because what happens next, the very next day, is angry Russians are going to show up at the doorsteps of every single branch of government and demand answers. Their question will be one, and it's going to be very angry. Why? Why did we start it in the first place? Why there's so many Russian soldiers were killed? Why so many Ukrainians were killed? Why we didn't finish the job of denazifying or demilitarizing if we announced that were the goals, Why did we perform so poorly? What about our generals and so forth, There is a good chance, and I think it's up to humans, that the God will interfere. And somehow the God will help end this bloodshed. But I just don't know how. So this situation is also possible, but I'm not sure how probable that is. Scenario number 4. Negotiations with Ukraine and peace. Vladimir Putin, in this case, would remain the president. In the previous scenario, number 3, he would not last one day, because angry people would just revolt, okay, and everyone will be just purged. But the scenario is number 4 is, I think, the most favorable to him, because in this case, he will save power. And the bloodshed also will be stopped. The conflict between Russia and Ukraine will be stopped. What might happen is Russia will secretly negotiate with the United States. And by the way, I pray for that too every single day. And with one purpose, Russia will beg for salvaging whatever is left, saving the face, that part of the face that is left and it can be saved, if any. And the United States will demand a huge price. And I don't even know, it's going to be a price of planetary proportions. For example, just, thinking out loud, Syria will be transferred under control of the United States. Russia would give up, the Kurila Islands, the disputed islands between Russia and Japan. Russia would certainly review its relationship with China and do as the United States would say, or Russia would give up control of a huge part of the North Pole and Northern territories, and that the control would be transferred to the United States or to other countries. That type of stuff. I don't really know, that would be a secret deal, I'm pretty sure. But if Russia would reach the understanding and deal with the United States, then the United States would be able to influence Ukraine. Because right now Ukraine absolutely, hands down, declines any kind of attempts of negotiation from Russia, and not a chance. But the United States has enough power to exert over Ukrainian government, not Ukraine, but Ukrainian government, to actually make it negotiate. And, peace can be made. And I hope that very soon it will be made. The bloodshed will stop. Most likely, some or all annexed territories would go back to Ukraine. But then, the very same question would arise. Why? And in case Russian government, Russian leadership would go down that road, it would have to prepare the grounds for withdrawal, so to speak. Vladimir Putin needs to come up with a cunning model of blaming someone else for all what happened in the previous months, years, I don't know. I hope it's not years. I hope it's months. For example, a person among one of the power groups can be taken and elevated to a position that is so high, that is close or rivals the position of Vladimir Putin himself. Make him a leader of a new political party and pump it up, make it real strong, so he would have lots of popular support, that type of thing. And all of a sudden say, hey, you know what? That's his fault. Or blame the generals, collective generals, that's the army's fault. Or blame, the KGB, oh, they supplied wrong information. Or perhaps blame everyone collectively. Then people will get angry if Russia withdraws from Ukraine and allows, for accepting the laws. They will demand the answers, but in this scenario, the answers will be given. They will be given saying, hey, that person or that organization is responsible. That person's fault. That person's fault. I didn't know. And of course, there will be support from certain groups. Most likely, they will feed all propagandists to people. Most likely they would bring capital punishment back, because right now capital punishment is, banned in Russia. Most likely they will execute publicly to say, hey, this is what happened to they betrayed Russia, they're traitors and so forth, And that might actually work. Okay, in this case, the scenario, the Tsar is good and the nobles are bad, that has been played so many times in Russia before in the past, that actually might work out. That certainly will not improve international image of Russia that much, but at least there will be peace between Russia and Ukraine, and there will be peace, not peace, but stability, political internal stability in Russia. Okay. So that is scenario number 4. And the scenario number 5 is the domestic power group all-out war. Well, what might happen is actually there are a few groups, power groups, and there's a power struggle because everyone tries to grab more power. In Russia we call it pulling blanket upon yourself. They're trying to get the blanket, if you know what I mean. And I distinguish three main groups. Two groups are war hawks, and one the peacemakers, I call them, and they are at the state of conflict. Perhaps it's a war, internal war. Perhaps they're fighting. There are some signs that show to that, and the arrests of very prominent public figures that were parts of, still are parts of certain groups, is a clear sign that something is going on. Okay, and in this case, there's a huge risk for current leadership because the situation might get far out of hand. And what Vladimir Putin, one of his main achievements is, the head, the creator of the power vertical, is that he's like supreme judge. Okay, there's always power groups that they fight one another. Okay, but Vladimir Putin is so powerful because he has the power of making decisions as a judge for conflicts between the groups. But what's happening now, he is getting weaker by the day, and he does not control the situation. I don't know how far the situation has gone, but he controls it less and less. And if he controls less, he becomes weaker, then he's becoming not needed by these power groups. And sooner or later, if it keeps on going, if this scenario happens, then he's going to be consumed by them. One of them or all of them. What are the risks? For Russia, it's pretty bad scenario because it might lead to a civil war. Territories of Russia might be, a lot of regular Russian people might get involved into domestic bloodshed. Okay, it happened in Russia before, in the 20s of the 20th century, and it was ugly. Okay. Now, what are possibilities and probabilities of each single scenario? I'll remind you. Number one is nuclear strike, strategical nuclear strike, and end for everyone. Number two is accepting the loss. No, number two is the hand of God and natural causes. Number three is accepting the loss. Number four, negotiations with the West. And number five, all-out internal war, power struggle war. So number one, nuclear strike. I think it's becoming less probable, much less probable. It's the least likely to happen, and thank goodness for that, because this is the end for everyone. Number two, natural causes, the hand of God. I don't really know because it's up to God. No one can say the probability of that. Number three, accepting the loss. It is possible, but I don't think it's probable because if Russia accepts the loss, this is the end to current political system on the very next day. And the current system, current leadership will do everything for that not to happen. Number four, negotiations with the West and then making peace with Ukraine. It is very possible. Well, it's possible, but very probable. And I think it's happening behind the closed doors, behind the curtain on the ground somewhere. There have been contacts, rumors about contacts, active contacts of Russian diplomats or Russian power bloc people with American power bloc people And I think that's what they have been discussing, some kind of a deal, some kind of an exit game for Russia for this situation. Perhaps some peace for Ukraine, you can call it whatever you want, but that's what I think they're doing. And the situation scenario number 5, the domestic all-out war between the power groups, it is possible and it's very probable because I think it's been happening. The signs are there. It's been happening very, very actively for the past 2 months. I made a stream, The Political Wheels Are Turning, on September 6th. And then I started seeing the signs. I started seeing small pieces of smoke coming out here and there. And I started putting the puzzle together, okay? I think that the power struggle has always been there, but it has intensified a great deal. And I think there are also signs that Vladimir Putin losing control, okay? I don't know how far this gone, but this is a probable scenario. And what will most likely happen, scenario number 4 or scenario number 5? Scenario number 4, if it happens, it must happen quickly, because to take a person and elevate takes time, and something that Vladimir Putin doesn't have right now. That's his most valuable asset right now, time. And we look for this scenario because if we see that someone is getting lots of public attention, all the propagandists start praising a person or a group of people, perhaps a new political party, we know that scenario in the works. Okay, we know what to expect. Perhaps it's going to be the group of generals that, or the head of general or chief of staff or whatever, who's going to be elevated, who's going to give, or minister of defense perhaps, going to be given lots of credit, and then all of a sudden he's going to be made a scapegoat, things like that. And number 5, we will see that because every single group has influence over media personalities, over Russian-controlled media, and the power struggle that happens underneath, behind the closed doors, it will be spilling into the media space, okay? So whatever happens, either number 4, number 5, or perhaps another scenario, not too grand for Russia, because the damage has been done, and it's just a question is how fast we stop making more damage to Ukraine and to our own country, okay? And the next question is how we will be rebuilding everything after. Because depending on the scenario, there's going to be a whole different world of future for Russia, okay? So tomorrow, I'm going to give you a little more details on every scenario, who are the players, and what exact signs to look for. I'm going to tell you the more in-depth look into the slide of the economy, what signs to look for, and what people to pay attention to, and so forth. So it's going to be like part number 2 of today's stream. Today is about the scenarios in general, and tomorrow more details about them. This has been my message. I hope you found it interesting. I hope you learned something new. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for giving me a chance to deliver the message. Before I turn the comments on, I would like to tell you a couple things that I find important. First is I am going to turn off the comments after the stream is done for this particular stream and for the other streams that I've done in the previous week, with one simple reason. And for the future ones, I will shut the comments off. One simple reason. I am so overwhelmed with things that I do on YouTube right now. that I simply do not have time to go over thousands of comments that I see every single day. And that's upsetting to a lot of people. So I'd rather turn them off, and it's like an experiment. See what happens. I hope you understand. And I also would like to thank you for watching yesterday's stream. It was very, very personal for me, very touching. I got lots of comments from you, and I really appreciate. I wanted to say that. Thank you so very much. And right now, I'd like to turn on the comments, and it's so interesting to learn your point of view. Do you think I am right or I'm off on the points I made today and on the scenarios that I think are possible and probable to some extent in Russia? Thank you so much for letting me know. Let's do it. Lorna numero uno, Mommy, Black Cat, Harry, Bob, Amir. Harry, I hope you're feeling better today. And the usual suspects, Angelicat, Reese's, Dirk, Timo, Luke, Airborne Snail, with a very, very stable message, the same message all the time. Hi from Sweden. Samsa, Amra Makers, Lars Henrik, Dimai, Jeffrey S, Gael, Joy, Frank Mueller, Ryan, Thomas. Thank you so much for coming back, and thank you for giving me a chance to deliver another message. Without further ado, I'll jump right into the questions. Please put it in caps and put Inside Russia after @ so I see the big orange box so I know where to look. Thank you so much, Agnes. Great to see you as usual. Thank you. Love goes to you, to Czech Republic. Thank you. We have another person from Czech Republic, Lopolo AV Production. The best for everyone, even for Russia, is number 3. Russia has to be beaten to the knees and pay reparation. Putin has to fall, nothing more, nothing less. It's called catharsis. Only then is the chance for change. Like I said, this is the best scenario for Russia. I think so. For Ukraine as well. But it's not probable. It's not that probable. You know, the chances of that happening are less than other scenarios. Samsa Solman, Kai Konstantin could give Vladimir Putin personal salvation and get a chance to go to the pension and offer Russia to change power. Well, this is number 3. Negotiation. No. This is number 4. Negotiations with the West, peace with Ukraine, and the secret deal, or perhaps not so secret, the deal, that satisfies everyone. That's exactly what I think one of the scenarios is possible. But it's not just possible for the Russians. It's possible for the Western Ukraine and Russia, the government, but Russian people, they will demand someone's blood. They will demand answers. And someone would need to be sacrificed for that, put to jail, put to trial, public trial, the whole 9 yards, And not just one person, but quite a few people. Remember, Russians have 2 major questions. Who's guilty, whose fault that is, and what to do next. So they're going to come up with someone who's guilty. That's the key to success for them, for the power, I think. I vote number 4. That's what I just said. Thank you so much, Sylvia. Number 5, Jeffrey S. Thank you. I think perhaps instead of just one scenario, there could be a mix of 2 scenarios. For example, 4 and 5. Well, let's talk about it tomorrow. Jen Allen, sorry not been around. No problem. Thanks for coming back. Been dealing with a few issues. Aren't we all? Back this evening. Thank you so much. KWNY Upstate. He could post a video of him escaping from prison, say an imposter who looked like him did it. Actually, it's not a joke. It's a possibility. Yes. Saying, hey, you know what? I was held in this prison by a group of people, and that's they are, and everyone would just grab them and say, oh, what have you done? One of the possibilities, yes. No matter how crazy that sounds, that's a possibility. Pamela J. Last night in my book about Lech Walesa nomenclatura was mentioned in Poland in the 50s. Surprise. Okay. Thanks for sharing. Lorna, thank you so much. I must have, mixed something up. Please forgive me. The collective West is here. Wow. Ain't it quite something? Welcome the collective West. Thank you. Turns out you're the enemy of Russia. Well, at least here you have a platform to speak. Please speak. Please make yourself heard. What good do you have to say? Hi, Konstantin. The word is Zugzwang, not Zumzwang. That's exactly what I said. Zugzwang or Zugzwang. I never said Zum. It's just probably my pronunciation. A bit of a tongue twister for non-native speakers. Yes, I know. German is quite the language to speak. Not the easiest one. Koshkin Don, scenario 4. What about giving up Kaliningrad, Königsberg? Possible. I mean, anything is possible these days. I tell you what, friends. If this situation happened when Russia actually attacked Ukraine, started bombing, fighting with the Ukrainian army, bombing electric power plants, infrastructure, water treatment plants, and so forth. After that, I had thought it completely insane and it never would be possible. But after that actually happened and it's happening now, I'll tell you what, anything is possible. Anything. Mr. Gross, 4 is most likely, but not as described. The US will not sell out Ukraine just to get lands granted to the US. Look, I never said that the USA will sell out Ukraine. No. To get peace is in interest of Ukraine as much as an interest of Russia and everyone else, okay? I'm not saying the United States will sell out. I'm saying that Russia would have to sign a peace treaty on the terms of Ukraine. That's what my point is. And the United States will just push Ukraine towards it, so to speak. Harry says I am. Thank you so much. Very good to hear, Harry. Jeffrey S. Members are adjusting to the new time. Well, sorry, folks. To me, it's same old, same old. 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. Not the easiest time to stream, trust me. CKC and J, there's no way the US would negotiate to take Syria, nor would the US pressure President Zelensky to give up anything. Well, I don't think they're gonna pressure to give up much, but I think you might get surprised. Luke, the longer the Russia-Ukraine conflict goes on, do you think a horrific sixth option of World War III is plausible, particularly given the circumstances in Iran, Azerbaijan versus Armenia, China versus Taiwan, etc.? No. I think what you call an option number 6 is my option number 1, nuclear war. Because if other countries are involved, that Russia will exercise the nuclear option. Okay, and that's not going to happen. I don't think there is a chance of world descending into World War III. Iran is a domestic issue. Azerbaijan, Armenia is a domestic issue. It's really a politics. It's not like much of a war, but it's negotiations. It's a power struggle between Azerbaijan and Russia. That's it. Poor Armenia is just, the victim of this power struggle. Don't think that was a conflict. There was a war in the 90s between Azerbaijan and Armenia, and this tension did not disappear anywhere. It was under control by Russia and Turkey. That's it. Do you know that Turkey has joint army with Azerbaijan? Go figure. Now, that answers your question. Damien Da Silva, thank you. Unfortunately, I don't see any scenario where Putin stays in power. The US and EU will not sell out Ukraine. Peace treaties with Putin are not worth the paper they are written on. Peace at any cost is just war delayed. Well, thanks for your opinion. I get it. I think a little otherwise, but time will tell. We'll see who's right. Matt Blazer 89. I wanted to say this in a previous stream, but I forgot. Your camera is focusing on the background, not on me. That's a problem. Shoot. Tess, thank you so much. Time to fix that. That's the best I can do. I'm sorry, this is the best I can do. Thank you for heads up. Somehow it was in the manual mode. You live, you learn. Master Q, scenario 6, Russia triumphs and moves on to Poland. Well, why Poland? Just for the heck of it? Oh my gosh. This is a very unlikely scenario, my friend. Russia triumphs. Russia can't even stop Ukrainian forces advancing. How can it triumph? Triumph over what? Triumph how? Triumph based on what? Who to triumph over? Scenario 6 is Yeah, it's funny. Thank you for making me and other people laugh. Uh, Agnes, Kaliningrad is Czech. Krolowitz back to US. Sorry, I had to write that. It was our in Polish funny fake answer to the terrible referenda in the 4 Ukrainian areas taken by Russia. Yes, that's funny. Thanks. Paul, great topic and enjoyed it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Um, Blackhead. Thanks for commenting. Great to see you back. Thank you. Nightbot, thank you for chipping in. You're out of focus. Well, I'm out of focus perhaps visually, but not my voice. Laser on, sharp on. Jasper Potting Face, hello Janine. Frau Debs, Constantine, yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on. Thank you. It's actually good to know that other people, find my opinions spot on. Jeff, who are the Russians still supporting the government? What percentage are there compared to the rest of the Russian population? It used to be 70-30. Okay. Now the support is declining, but I cannot tell you exactly what is the percentage right now. Because for one simple reason, no one knows. No one does the polls. The government, if it does the polls, it must know. The KGB must know, but it's secret. They're keeping it secret, okay? So, but I feel like the decline is happening. Less and less people supporting. Leslie, US won't put on pressure? Ukraine needs to decide what happens next. Oh, here I disagree with you, Leslie. The United States has been putting lots of pressure. Last October, the head of CIA came to visit personally. He flew to Moscow on the CIA plane to meet the Russian officials. I think he met Patrushev, the head power force guy in Russia. Do you think they just had a nice afternoon tea? Yeah? The twinings? No, my friend. That was pressure being applied onto Russia, okay? And the pressure has been applied more and more over the previous time. Trust me. Do you think that the sanctions is not pressure? Well, think twice. I think the US has been putting lots of pressure upon Russia. Kim, howdy. Brother Randall, thank you so much. I'm not a professor. Thank you. Lorraine Prosnowski, thank you so much. Appreciate the support. Lionel, that's the new word for me. Zugzwang. We'll use that in the future. That's the new word. I think you say truth, but there's no easy way out of Putin. He's going down. That is very obvious. It's just some ways are easier and some ways are harder for him. That's the whole point of my messages, okay? There's no good way exactly because of Zugzwang. There's nothing good about Zugzwang, and it takes lots of efforts when you play games, when you play chess. It takes lots of moves to get yourself in a position of Zugzwang. I think like every single stream I've done so far is documenting and explaining how Russia has been putting itself more and more into this deep, stinky substance. World of opportunity inside Russia. Hi from Croatia. There will be better days. My friend, I hope so, and I pray for the better days. Should pray for better days and for peace today. Mad in Dead. Mad 3 in Dead. Howdy. This is my first time ever to be able to catch a stream. Much love from the United States, from sunny Miami Beach, Florida. Well, howdy. Wonderful participant with a really hard to pronounce name. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Nice to be in Florida right now. I just want to know where you found this hilarious thumbnail picture of Putin. Well, I found it. Let's put it this way. I'm not the one who took it. Thank you, Black Cat. Good guy for real. You too. Thank you so much. Elsha, your stream made me very confused. Could you please explain why? What confused and what? Hey, I see Robert Bates. Robert, how are you? Long time no see. Good to see you. 3 p.m. for live stream. How that working out? We don't know yet because it just happened. Villius, what the chance Baltic states are getting nuked? Very little. Very little chance. But that's me saying. But from what I understand, the nuke option is not considered, at least at this point, and thank goodness for that. And why would the Baltic states would get nuked? That they are of no danger to Russia whatsoever. They're small, harmless. Why would you nuke them? Just for the sake of nuking? Well, knowing some people, of course it's possible, but not probable. New sponsor, Jen Allen, thank you. Welcome to Inside Russia. And there's a super chat from Alexandro Pelota. I'm very sorry to hear you suffer. Your country would be a magnificent one if you had freedom and democracy. Sometimes losing a war is the best thing that can happen to the country. Thanks from Italy. Well, Alexandro, thank you so much. Very solid points you made. I agree. Russia definitely could be a magnificent country, and it is a magnificent country. It's just somehow it has suffered generations of bad rulers. Social system, slavery, then communists, then this, but the country itself is magnificent, and people, if you get down to the level of person-to-person communication, most people are wonderful, nice. I've said it many times. I know Russians. Well, at least I knew them before. I think what's happening now is a temporary darkening of the mind or something like that, I hope it's temporary. Cloud Queen, thank you. Welcome to Inside Russia. It's Dave from Kalamazoo, Michigan. The less stress you have is good. Turn off comments. We'll see how it works out. I also am going to take off my email address because the amount of emails I get is unbelievable. At least for some time I'll take it off. And the thing is, I don't have time to answer. And when I don't answer the person who emails me, that person just gets angry because, emails need to be answered. That's it. I'm swimming. I'm sinking in this sea of information and messages and comments. So I got to take a little break. And then we'll see what happens. Perhaps I'll get some more time. Well, we'll just see. Katharina Home, quite understandable that you can't answer thousands of comments. The mods are doing an excellent job keeping the chat civil. Thank you. Thank you so much. Mark Griffith, scenario 4 or 5, but I can't imagine any scenario where Russia can redeem itself unless the existing government goes and true democracy is installed and seen to be working. Well, I never said that those scenarios will redeem Russia just like that. It's going to take years, decades, generations perhaps, and you're absolutely right. It's going to depend on how Russia behaves, whether acts, not behaves, but acts, whether it's going to be run democratically or there will be another Putin or depending. Pamela J. With US election tomorrow, please clamp down harder on politics. We get along good if we don't discuss these things. So much division in the US now. Yeah, unfortunately. When I lived in the United States, it was pretty much a bipartisan country. No one really cared if you were Democrat or Republican. Kind of same thing, just different angles. Well, I guess it's different now, but let's not discuss it, please. Jeff Vincent, who oh yeah, I already answered that. Very strange. The second question, that's smart. If you want me to answer your question real bad, just put it up a few times. Chances are I will notice it are much higher. Ferrari guy, I don't think there will be unilateral negotiations. They have been. They have been already. They're secret. The Kremlin keeps moaning about US hegemony, yet gets upset when the US will not negotiate on behalf of Kremlin wants irony. What you see and what is really happening is two different worlds. That's what I think. Jordan, thanks for the video. Gives a Westerner some insight. Thank you. Koshkin Dom, you need a secretary. Yeah, that's true. Thank you. I definitely need help, but the problem is no one can help me as much as I can help myself. How? I just don't see it happening in my head, For example, there's a person right next to me who's helping part-time. Like, what does she or he do? The person wouldn't know, like, how to answer, what to answer, and that would have to communicate with me all the time. It's going to be the same amount of time. Not the same without our mommy. Yeah, that's true. Lori, the thing is, if I had tons of junk mail in my mailbox, in my email box, then it would be okay. But the thing is, I get lots of good letters from good people. And some of them are large, long, some of them are short, but most of them are real, And if I don't answer the real letter, that just hurts a person. Needs staff. Yeah. JKB, I cannot answer that question. It's just rumors. It's just rumors. So I have no clue. How would I know? Might as well ask you the same question. What do you think? Vlad 1979, what about involving Belarus directly into the operation? Both could intensify actions and try to completely occupy the Ukraine. Are you remotely familiar with what is happening right now? What is the strategy of Russian army in Ukraine? We are hitting almost every single day the facilities of critical infrastructure. Yeah, someone called us today from Odessa, Ukraine, and they have the outages of electricity in Odessa, far away from the fault lines. Okay, how is this possible? Because Russian rockets flew somewhere and hit the power plant that generates electricity. Okay, that's what Russian Federation is trying to do. And a top Russian politician on TV said, okay, we want Ukrainians to stay without electricity, without water. Okay, and even the propagandists were telling, like, how can you say that? What do regular people have to do with that? He said, oh, regular people must suffer. They must they must put pressure onto Ukrainian government. It's out there in the public, okay? That's the strategy of Russian Federation right now in Ukraine. But the Ukrainians are actually pushing. They're pushing, okay? That's not on the news, on the Russian news, but I mean, come on. Just watch the Russian Ministry of Defense closely. So, Vlad, I didn't understand your question all that much. Just get out there more often, okay? What are the chances Navalny gets in, and what do you think it would change? It would not change anything. Dave, Navalny is a niche politician. Used to be big, but most Russians would not support him, I think. There are many reasons for that. I'm not going to go in detail right now, but I think that he would get out, he would make change, but he would not be the person who would lead Russia into the future, that type of thing. Jeffrey S., Powerball up to 1.9 million tonight, $2 a try. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thanks for bringing it up. You remember. Richard Burris just has gifted 5 memberships to people. Thank you from me and 5 people, and the Black Cat did the same. Thank you so very much. We have 10 more sponsors, new sponsors. Thank you from me to both of you and from 10 people. My friends, love from Canada, from Jordan. Thank you so much. CKC, why Poland? Because it has been stated on RT several times. I haven't heard of that, but no one's going to mess with Poland. Poland is a part of NATO. You mess with Poland, you mess with NATO, That's not going to happen, I assure you. Well, I shouldn't assure you. I assured everyone that Russia would not attack Ukraine, so I'm not in business of assurance of anyone, of anything, but I think the chances of that happening, Russia attacking Poland, are slim to none. But then again, what were the chances of Russia attacking Ukraine? Were about the same. Luke, do you think the move to become USSR 2.0 with planned economy can be stopped? Yes, it can be. The hand of God. Really appreciate the time you give to doing this and responding to comments. Thank you so much, Luke. I appreciate support, and I appreciate your really good, thought-provoking questions. So this definitely can be stopped, because USSR 2.0 is a very unnatural state of country, of the economy, and people would be against it are against it as much as possible. Okay, you know, if something happens that distracts country from the course, that will be welcomed. My friends, I would like to wrap it up today, and I'd like to invite everyone to pray with me. Let's pray for our countries, for peace, for people. Thank you. Dear God, thank you so very much for giving us this day. Thank you for putting food on our tables, putting roofs over our heads. Thank you for surrounding us with the loved ones, people who we love and who love us. Thank you. Please help our children, keep them safe and healthy, and give us wisdom to raise them the way that when they grow up, they will make this place a better world, and they will never fight with one another. They will they will live freely in very nice countries, democratically run, and will be just happy, healthy and happy. Please help stop bloodshed in Ukraine. The country has suffered so much. People have suffered so much. It's time to stop. I am asking you to reach out and touch the hearts of people who can make decision to stop, so they stop it. Please help everyone in Ukraine who has been affected by this tragedy. Give them strength to go through this. Give them forgiveness so they forgive others. Give them food, shelter, electricity, water, the ones who are without right now. Please give them fast recovery from whatever they are suffering from, and heal their souls. Help them to go through the tragedies that are happening inside of their hearts and their souls. Please send an angel to every single person in Ukraine, so the angels will protect everyone and keep the harm out of the way of people, so not one single drop of blood is shed anymore in Ukraine. Dear God, please help my country, Russia. Send the army of strongest angels with the sharpest swords, led by Saint Michael, so they will fight and get rid of demons that have hijacked my country. Let angels run it and make it righteous and good again. I would like to ask for the United States, so people stop being so divided by the political parties, and they will come together as united again, as the Americans, not as the Democrats or Republicans, and they all will work together to make their country keep on shining. Please help, because the country and the people, they also need help. Please help European countries who are suffering from different challenges, suffering from the lack of natural gas from Russia, suffering from high prices for gas, high prices for oil. Please help the countries and send help to their people. Please help Ukrainian people who are without electricity right now, without warm, please help so they have electricity restored and warmth. Keep them warm. Please help all those who traveling. Send help their way, and the ones who are running for their lives, trying to escape, trying to make future for themselves. Those people are very vulnerable, and please help them. Thank you so very much. Please give us all peace and understanding. Please make us understand each other. Make us be nice to each other. Please teach us how to be nice to each other. Please don't let any wars happen anymore. We all need peace, and we're praying for peace right now. Please help everyone in this community, and thank you very much for bringing us together, allowing to pray together and just, be in this community. Thank you. Help everyone here, answer everyone's prayers, and please make everyone's wish come true. I would like to ask for a few people who reached out and said that they need help. They are Rudy Kaisley, Robert Morgan's sister, Rafaela Fromm, daughter Anna Priscilla, Michelin, Dawn, Allison Dave Moyers, Deborah, Janice Burgess, Maureen M. and her sister, Bruce, King Nero, Gaby Hyman, Kayleen, Michael, Thomas, Minutes to Midnight, Mr. Hanson, Heidi Howitz, Golden Griffon, Michael Milkowitz, Jacob, Ian, Umel and Jennifer, Andrea, Rob, Ashley and family, Angelic at Life, Florian G, Cosmicio, Matt, Mr. Dean Spooner in his church, Our Savior Lutheran Church, Lisa Kumrian, Adam Oliver, Ant UK, Barry Reading Sister and Leslie Fleming, Grace, Barb, Randolph, Yelena, Natasha, Jake, Michael, Oля, Dasha, Sky, Bonnie, Galina, Michael, Sabrina, Paul Binns, Pritch's father, Richard, Mallory M. Dirk and his father, James Rhodes, Just Terry, Brittany S., Lars Hendrick, Lane Hankins, Bridget Apley, Hannah and her children, may Scott Nesbitt's sister rest in peace. Please help our friend Mike. Send him strength and send him recovery. Asking for Harry to help with the CV-19 situation. SC-2216. And the daughter Lori. China Bill. Brian McManus. Verlinda Allen's niece, fighting with addiction. Doug, Steve's brother. Scan family's grandson. Ace. Vladimir Istomin, the highwayman. Please help him to regain his faith. I would like to mention a few children that need your help today. They are Cadence, Coulter, Maverick, and Sebastian. Please help them and help their families. Thank you so much, dear God, Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you, my friends. Thank you for giving me a chance. Thank you, and I will see you tomorrow with a new message. Before I sign off, I'd like to say two things. You're awesome and you rock. And Carthago delenda est.